Hi, everyone. My name is Brian Graham. I am the county chair of the Fairfax County Democratic Committee, and it's 7:32 p.m. And I am calling our November meeting to order. Thanks for joining us. Virtual meeting instructions. It's been a while since we've had a fully virtual meeting. So just to remind folks, raise your hand if you'd like to be recognized. We'll try to look at chat, but no guarantees that we will see your chat message as they go by. So let's try not to conduct business through chat. And I'm not sure that we will have a counted vote today, but if we do, we'll launch a poll for that purpose. You might have to exit the full screen view or swipe on your phone or tablet to see the voting window. And once you vote, the voting screen disappears. And I guess I forgot to remove the hybrid slide. So that's that. And now I guess just generally speaking, I will ask folks to keep themselves muted.
Yeah.
Unless you're seeking the floor for recognition, and you can raise your hand, of course, for that as well. But at this point, we are at the point of approval of agenda and minutes. And are there any changes to the agenda or to the minutes?
Move to approve.
Without any changes, we can approve without objection and move on to the introduction to special guests, which I am not sure that we have any special guests. This is typically where we recognize candidates for office, and there are, particularly in the 10th Congressional District, which is a small part of Fairfax County, maybe some candidates, but I don't see any particular in the room seeking recognition. So I'm just going to double check real quick. I think we're good now, so we can actually skip this agenda item for now. I will mention that we will hear from some folks that will be seeking FCDC office during reorganization in the beginning of the announcement section as well. So just to keep that in mind. And I think this may be at least how things are going. This may be a very quick meeting, but we can move on to the treasurer's report. And I recognize the treasurer, Nadia Golding, for her report.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to let everyone know that this is, of course, the last report of this calendar year. It does not include a lot of stuff that has come in November, so it kind of gives us the picture more or less as it was at the beginning of November with just a few additions. So you can see in the summary we have here that the fundraising arm of our committee has raised $93,500 so far this year, which is unfortunately less than we had hoped. Similarly, we haven't raised as much in operations income, but 43,000, but a lot of income has been raised over the course of November, which is essentially membership dues for this coming up biennium. And so far we've raised close to $68,000 in that. So you could add another, we're going to go over that part of the budget when you add 68,000 to it. Voter contact and election support income is basically a minimal thing. For expenses, we have most of the joint campaign expenses in that I know of. And at the moment, we're carrying a little bit of a profit from it, which is good because we put so much money and time into the joint campaign, but particularly time, that we didn't raise as much money for other parts of our budget this year. So that's going to help us reach the bottom line, which is still pretty low right now, 39,000, hopefully a little higher with all these membership dues at the end. And the other things at the bottom are not super important. I don't see the carryover for next year in here, Brian.
I did cut it off there. Yeah, there is a so it fit nicer on the screen. But yes,
Oh, okay.
there was a $5,000
Yeah, so
carryover.
yeah, we spent $5,000 as a deposit for a fundraiser for next year. So that's also in here. Okay, so that's sort of where we are as a committee. This is a list of basically where the district committees are. Their federal accounts are here, their non-federal accounts are below that. So altogether, that adds up to their $69,000 that they have. And any district committee chair who wants to know where they stand now or at the end of November could ask me, and I will, or their treasurer, and I will send them their ledgers whenever they want. I expect by the end of December to create a kind of a end of calendar year, end of biennium report for each district committee, so that everybody who's taking over in the new biennial will have a beginning, a balance, that they know what it is. I'll still give them, of course, the history that they, things that have been spent and what on, but they'll at least know where they're starting. I don't know if there's anything else, but if there are any questions, please ask me.
No, I think it's important just to note from the joint campaign perspective, because it doesn't really completely reflect our income or expenses, fundraising income or expenses.
Yeah.
Because the joint campaign was about a $200,000.
You could go down farther on the report and show that if you wanted, but
well, I'd have to pull up the separate report, but it's kind of an oddity of how we set up the joint campaign in the budget as an expense. And so you don't really see the full kind of money coming in or money going out side of that on this the summary that we usually show. So just something I wanted to point out.
But we raised 268,000 for it, and we spent 4,000 on it.
Right.
And that includes everything that was given to us by candidates, as well as the fundraisers that we did for this ourselves, and then just people randomly giving us money for it.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Nadia.
Mm-hmm.
Now we are to the chair's report, and I guess first I would just want to express my thanks. I mean, we're coming out of Thanksgiving, the week of Thanksgiving, and we have, I think, a lot to be thankful for as Fairfax Democrats. We had a very successful year this year, and a successful joint campaign as well. And really, a lot of that comes down to you as members of FCDC and our volunteers, right? The joint campaign, even with all the money that we just talked about, is not really possible without the organizing power of FCDC and our volunteers being there on election day and handing out the sample ballots. And I think it also kind of reflects the power of the Democratic sample ballot here in Fairfax County, how well we did. I know I've talked to Dominic about this at length. Sure, we would like to win every election in Fairfax County, but I think 98% of the elections is pretty good as well. And I think we should feel proud of that. And I think it's also a reflection of how hard it is to beat an entrenched incumbent. So we'll continue our work here and kind of elsewhere. I think you see, if you look at the budget in the reflection of the money that the district committees have or have spent, really, if you compare the district committee balances from a couple months ago to now, well, we spent a lot of money and we're a force of good in elections in Fairfax County and beyond, right, in the rest of Virginia as well. And then, of course, we had the kind of very unusual experience of having the Republicans try to throw a candidate off the ballot during the middle of an election in the Franconia district. And I think, I mean, I don't entirely know what to make of it. I think I'm very thankful for Dan Press and Donna Rostent for their work. Dan is one of the co-chairs of election protection, and Donna is our general counsel, and they gave their time to help defend Marcia's place on the ballot, and also I mean the voters of Franconia that had already voted as well, right? So my kudos go to them for that, and I can't say I mean I'm not we're very grateful for that as well. So so thank you to them. But overall, I think we have a lot to be proud of. A lot of things that were good, a lot of things that we that were successful this year, and things we can learn from future elections in terms of how we can be, I want to say, even more frugal in a big county. The door hangers have turned into kind of a very popular thing, and especially an election like this year, where you have 14 people on the ballot, helping people understand who their candidates are, as we know, is kind of the biggest trick, right? So. One, I extend my thanks for everyone for that, but two, it send my thanks and you know how grateful I have been to be the chair of FCDC in my last full meeting as FCDC chair. It has been a proud honor, and I'm not going anywhere, but you know, we can cede leadership to some new folks and see where they can bring us. It just my other kind of chair's note going into reorganization, and we've kind of already gone through I'm going to say the hard part of this, where people have filed to be members. We had I think this is something that I don't remember us doing, or if we did it differently, but we did obviously multiple emails, but we did robocalls, we did text messaging. We were trying to get people to re-sign up because not everyone, I mean, we get a lot of emails that, you know, not everyone knows that how this works, right? Like it is an oddity that in a couple of weeks, everyone who is a member is not a member anymore, and we have to re-elect everyone. So everyone has so our deadline was yesterday at 5 p.m. We had I don't remember the exact number, but over 700 members apply for membership, and no district had more members than they are allowed. So we can safely say the caucuses are canceled for each of the districts. But if you go to the Fairfax Democrats website and click on reorganization, there is a list of people who have applied for membership. If you're curious, if you have questions about it, yeah, I think it was like 790 something, but so Joy says, oh, close to 800. So I think that's my recollection. So, over 700 was safe, because I knew that was good. But yeah, so the next thing that's happening is next week we're having meetings for reorganization, right? So that's when we will be selecting our district leadership, right, and so that's an important thing to do. And then January 9th is when we'll be having our next FCDC meeting for reorganization, and we'll be electing FCDC leadership and considering some bylaws changes as well. I have a few drafted that I would like to see us enact, but I think there might be some other proposals out there as well. If we need to get those out. If you do have a bylaws proposed change, you should get it to us kind of as soon as you can, because we need to get it out to the membership to be able to see it and consider it before we vote on it at reorganization. I think that's it. I finished with thanks to all the other officers and leaders in FCDC, especially on the district level, that have helped enable our success, our collective success, in fundraising and operations and in the organization. You know, we couldn't do it without all of us together. Joy, if you have something to talk about related to a reorg now, I think it would be an appropriate time.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you, Brian. I just want to say a special thanks to all the membership volunteers who helped us process almost those 800 applications. We had most districts had representatives, and I'm hesitant to say names so that I don't forget someone, but I just want to thank everyone who did that. To my knowledge, we are ready with all but 3 of our districts. So those district chairs and membership committee members should already have their pending lists. Their folders are updated. We're just waiting on 3 more to finish in the next day or so. And then we'll be set. We're going to make our deadline. Just an announcement to anyone who applied after November 27th. If you applied even on November 28th, you will be considered in the next round. You will not be a part of the reorganization vote, the meeting on the 9th, but then we'll just begin our regular process. So if anyone has any questions about the process, I want a special thanks to Lawrence, my co-chair. We worked everything out. It went really, really well. Any questions about waivers or any of those special circumstances? Really grateful for Nadia for handling all of those as I learn all the ins and outs. That's all I have unless anyone has any questions. Thanks.
Thanks, Joy. I guess there was 2 things that maybe I wasn't clear enough. We won 49 out of 50 of the elected positions in Fairfax County. The only one that we didn't was Springfield supervisor, right? So Franconia District's school board, yes, Marcia won. So we were very successful in that, and that's great. And then there was also a question about I guess directly directed to me about, are we planning ranked choice voting in the 2024 primary? And I'm just kind of vaguely looking at Kate Hanley. In my understanding, in the Virginia Code, we can have ranked choice voting for only for basically like board of supervisors, or maybe basically the existing board that's elected has to approve or authorized a ranked choice voting primary for it to happen. And that obviously does not apply to the presidential primary. Or I guess you could have a June primary of some kind for Congress, and it would not apply for congressional seat either. I guess I will just say I do not expect us to have a presidential primary in March. The Biden campaign has been collecting signatures, and I expect we'll file in the next kind of week or so before the deadline. And I have not seen any other candidates collecting petitions, or heard of any other candidates collecting petitions for ballot access for presidential primary. So I guess that's the first thing, and then we'll get to worry about who are going to be our congressional representatives for those seats. So okay, I think that exhausts myself for my report. And we can move on to vice chair, committee, and caucus reports if there are any.
Brian, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Stephanie.
Yeah, hi, I'm just representing the vice chairs, and I just want to thank everybody who worked on the joint campaign, including our staff, Dominic and Izzy, Anna and Luke, all the volunteers, everybody. I think that we proved that in our very blue county now, we can help our Senate and House candidates by running a strong, effective joint campaign and freeing them up to raise money and campaign in other parts of the state, which led to our victory and taking back the General Assembly. So it really is a lot that we did. It's a lot beyond our borders that you don't really think about. We freed up many people to raise money for other districts and to campaign in other districts and to coach candidates. Thank you, everybody. And thank you to my other vice chairs and to Brian for his faithful leadership. That's all.
Oh, thanks, Stephanie. I'm going to, if I can, and without objection, kind of go back to special guests and recognize John Burns from the Biden campaign, which kind of a moment ago would have been great to have John come in. But go ahead, John. I know you have some events coming up.
Yes. Thank you, Brian. And my apologies for missing my agenda item. I quickly wanted to come on and remind folks that we are coming up against the deadline we have to collect all of the signatures we need across Virginia to get President Biden on the primary ballot. That goal is 10,000 signatures. I'm going to put a couple links in the chat. We have some super exciting events coming up. Tomorrow night, our national deputy campaign manager, Quentin Folks, will be in Arlington to give a campaign briefing to local Democrats. You are all invited. I'm going to put that link in the chat. It is tomorrow at 6 o'clock in Arlington. Would love to see you all there to meet Quentin, as well as we do have some petition collection events coming up this weekend. I'll also toss my email in the chat for anyone who has any questions about getting involved. Thank you all so much.
All right, thanks, John. Next, I recognize Tina Barczyk, Vice Chair of Finance, who I think is going to invite everyone to a party this weekend.
Yes, could you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yes, so we have a lot to celebrate. Like Brian said, we did so well in Fairfax County, and as Stephanie mentioned, we did so well outside of the lines. A lot to celebrate. So please join us. It's really important that we celebrate these types of things, and the holiday event is this Sunday, and it is from 3 to 5 in McLean, and I am going to put the link in the chat box. So please, 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 and one more, please join us. Thanks.
Thanks, Tina. Next, I recognize Paul Jamieson.
Hi, just on behalf of the regional vice chairs as well. It was a great election. One of the things I was focusing on particularly was the school board, which, some people thought that we may lose some of the races. My goal was always to not only win, but win so resoundingly that Republicans might think, maybe we won't try education as our issue again and just try something else other than trying to mess up school boards. So not only did we all win resoundingly for all our races, I also was working with the Virginia PAC, We the People for Education, which was the PAC that was started by former Education Secretary Ann Holton. And she came up, and they came up with a report of how they did overall in Virginia. And they supported a number of candidates. They prioritized 60 candidates. Of those 60 candidates, 70% of them won. 28 of the 40 first-time candidates won. And they flipped 3 school boards and flipped individual nine seats, so that not only the Republicans didn't succeed in changing the agenda of Virginia schools, that they actually fell behind because people were just getting fed up with the antics of Moms for Liberty and things like that. So all in all, it was just a great thing, great result overall in all of Virginia. So that's my report. Thanks.
Thanks, Paul. Next, I recognize Peggy Morrison.
Hi, Peggy Morrison, co-chair of voter registration and education with Rich Weiss. I just wanted to say that we really had a great year. In this last November general election, we visited Northern Virginia Community College or George Mason 29 times, and sometimes 4 times in a week. So if the students didn't see us coming up the hill, they saw us coming down the hill. Many students would stop and say, "Don't panic. I have registered to vote. Others would look at us and go, I'm going to early vote today. So it was really very successful. My thanks to everybody. We got some new volunteers this year, hopefully looking to expand some stuff for next year, but really thankful for the people that we have on this group that are really focused on trying to get people to understand about elections and work with local precincts and different districts. And that's it for me.
All right, thanks, Peggy. Next I recognize Maria Varel.
Okay, thank you, Brian. I just, first of all, let me just thank the districts for sending us the best people to work on the Precinct Ops Committee. We just have a really collaborative group year after year, and I can't tell you enough how much it's awesome to work as a collective, and then the efforts that they do individually in their own districts. I just want to take everybody knows this was a really busy year, and I just want to hit highlights of some of the things that we did as precinct ops, both as a collective committee and as individuals in the precincts. We, some of our staff, did help support the endorsement process. We staffed the primary. We worked with campaigns to support GOTV, engaging voters, helping with fundraising and phone banking and postcards. We did 45 days of early voting. We covered, we have 265 precincts covered on election day. We covered the back to school events across the county. We supported staff to help to support both voter registration and voter protection efforts. And if that wasn't enough, we held a day-long session training 200 volunteers and invited all the campaigns in to help conduct workshops and just affirm and thank the volunteers. We organized events for the candidates in homes and in meetings. And so just, I could go on and on, but thank you so much for the people that you send to do precinct ops. I just would ask you to send us again next year, people that are there to work and to get the job done in electing Democrats. So thank you so much for a really excellent year.
Thanks, Maria. Not seeing any other chairs seeking recognition. So if that is the case, we can move on to new business. Is there any new business? Okay, not seeing any new business. Oh, Kathy, did you have new business or an announcement?
No, sorry if I missed district chairs, or do we not do district chairs in general meetings? But
go ahead.
I just wanted to thank everyone for the support for Franconia District in our crazy school board situation. Announced that lawsuit came out, or she was removed from the ballot the night before early voting opened at Franconia Governmental Center. And our committee, but also tons of support from the rest of FCDC was a huge help. We doubled our volunteers at early voting for the entire time of early voting. And we also plussed up every one of our precincts on election day. But people came from all over the district and were writing us, basically all of our committee members, people were writing, how do we support? And tons of people came out from across FCDC to include elected officials. And especially thanks to the FCDC folks in the joint campaign for managing the handouts for how people do write-ins. So it was a huge deal. It was a little shocking and stressful, but in the end, we ended up with more write-in votes in 1 week of early voting when she was technically off the ballot than the opponent had in 6 weeks of early voting. So thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. I recognize Kate Hanley.
This is, I've lost my voice today, but I want to follow up on that comment. First, I want to recognize and thank the election officials and the assistant chiefs who worked in the polls, both this time and last time. our assistant chiefs have stepped up, and it has really been a wonderful job that they've done. The committee, Brian, thank you. The committee it was just really very involved and very helpful in what Kathy pointed out was a very, very difficult situation. And I could see people stepping up and turnout going up, and it was very impressive. And finally, because the code is so interesting that kind of thing can happen without any provision to notify the candidate, I really want to thank Dan and Donna for stepping up to help this in a legal situation. As you know, registrars and electoral boards, and the electoral board was not in this until the very last, and still not in it. We don't have recourse to legal counsel. We have to go to the state, actually risk management, in order to get counsel. And Dan and Donna stepped up. The county attorneys do not represent us. And so I think the committee should really understand what a wonderful job they did, as well as the job the committee did. And so thank you to all of you that really performed an amazing feat, particularly from Franconia District. That's all.
Well, thank you. I mean, thank you for everything you do to help us, be a leader on the electoral board. So thank you.
Anytime.
Next I recognize Sheila Olam.
Finally, sorry, I couldn't unmute myself. Maybe that's a good thing. So I'm not going to be around for the FCDC party because the first and second weekend of December, Herndon is always very community oriented. We've got a lot of things going on. Our supervisor-elect of Drainsville, Mr. Bierman, I think will be present at our train show. So if anybody is a kid or you have children, come out for the train show on Saturday. We're having a home tour, fortnightly library. We'll have reading and things going on for kids. And then on Sunday, we'll have this arts and crafts show that we do at the community center every year, and several other things. And the next weekend, the winter market. One of my colleagues on council, Kevin LeBlanc, has been organizing that for several years, as well as the home tour. So come on out and look for myself and Kevin and anyone else that shows up.
Oops, thanks, Sheila. And we'll miss you, but yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things going on in the holiday season, so we understand. I'm in a kickoff announcement section, even though we've kind of partially gotten into it with a section on FCDC candidate announcements. So if there are any folks who are running for FCDC officer position that would like to be recognized at this time, this would be the appropriate time to seek recognition. And now I recognize one of our regional vice chairs, Aaron Yohai.
Hello, Brian. I thank you all for being here tonight. I know that we have a lot to celebrate. We'll be making an announcement, but before I say anything else, we do owe you, Brian Graham, a tremendous debt of honor for debt of gratitude, but also honor. Tremendous challenges we've faced in the last 4 years that you've been chair. I know you didn't sign up to be chair during a global pandemic and a presidential election cycle like none other. But here we are, we weathered the storm, and it is in no small part due to your hard work and your commitment to ensuring access, especially for people with disabilities, because this is now an ongoing thing that we will be having electronic meetings, I hope, and that will open the door for more people to be involved in FCDC and attend our meetings than ever before. And that is a big part of your legacy, among other things. So I hope that I can speak for everybody on this Zoom call tonight when I say that, yes, a debt of gratitude is owed to you, and you really stepped up in what may be one of the most challenging episodes in the history of this organization. So thank you, Brian. Without further ado, a bit about myself. I've been introduced as your regional vice chair, which is for the central region. I've had this job since July. But I'm also the chair of Braddock District, Aaron Yohai, Braddock District chair for the last 4 years. And I am tonight announcing that I will be running for FCDC chair at our January 9th reorganization meeting at Woodson High School, 7:30 p.m. I hope to see many of you there. And the reason that I've decided to run for FCDC chair is because you've heard me speak to the challenges of the last 4 years that our now outgoing chair, Brian Graham, led us through. But we will have no shortage of challenges in the coming 2 to 4 years that I can think of right now, because no one can predict the future, but there are some certainties we are aware of. For one thing, the Republican Party has shown itself to be contemptful of civility and our democratic norms, and we must be agile and able to respond to their provocations like we were this year in Franconia with the legal challenge. And besides that, in the next 2 to 4 years, we know that we will have at least, well, no, we know we will have 2 U.S. Senate elections that will be perhaps decided in Fairfax County, because this is the largest jurisdiction in Virginia, 1.15 million people. That is nothing to sniff at. When we are that big of a county, we will have an outsized impact on 2 Senate campaigns, a presidential campaign, as well as the 2025 gubernatorial campaign, where we would like to say goodbye forever to Republican governors, I think, and Republican attorneys general. And to that end, how will we achieve that? My own personal and professional history has been working in political campaigns around here in Fairfax County. I was born and raised here. I have been an active volunteer since I was a freshman in high school for Obama in 2008. And I began my career as a deputy field organizer for Kathleen Murphy in her 34th district special election, 2014 to 2015. In the dead of winter, we turned out voters and flipped a district which had previously been held by Barbara Comstock. And after that, I worked for Delegate Carrie Delaney and her successful 2017 campaign that kicked off the blue wave here in Virginia. And these were highly competitive campaigns. But in also my current capacity as a General Assembly staffer, I have been privileged to organize professionally in every district of Fairfax County in one precinct or another. And I hope to bring that broad awareness of the challenges of the Democratic Party in this county to make sure that FCDC keeps our edge and makes sure that it's not good enough just to hold 49 out of 50 elected offices, partisan offices in Fairfax County. We also need to supercharge Democratic turnout in Fairfax to ensure that we never elect another statewide Republican in Virginia. In a jurisdiction of 1.15 million people, increasing Democratic performance even at a marginal level beyond what we're used to could have a huge impact downstate. And everyone is looking to Fairfax County, to FCDC, to lead the way and be the flagship of Democratic jurisdiction committees in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So I believe that the best way for us to do that and how we will proceed to lead Virginia as FCDC will be to begin by empowering district committees. I know that many people on this call and many members of FCDC feel a strong affinity towards their home district committees. And that's because all of us, when we're members of FCDC, that means that we're actually members of two committees at the very least, the Fairfax County Democratic Committee, as well as these district committees that organize in our backyards, so to speak. And as a district chair for the last 4 years, I've seen the incredible hard work that goes into raising funds and knocking on doors and speaking to voters at the farmers market, perhaps when they were not expecting to have a conversation about politics, and really listening to them, hearing their concerns, and putting the best foot forward for the Democratic Party. We should be empowering our districts and giving them the tools to succeed on the local level. And as a former, soon-to-be former district chair, and hopefully your future FCDC chair, I believe that I'll be well positioned to do that. Beyond that, we also need to ensure that we are building strong partnerships with other organizations, C3 and C4 organizations in Fairfax County, to make sure that we are achieving as much as we can in the way of voter registration and awareness of elections. And going back to what it would mean to increase Democratic performance in Fairfax County, 1 to 2% even, one thing that we can do, which is not something that every local campaign necessarily has the capacity to do, is have a robust outreach to our diverse communities here in Fairfax County. We have a huge community of people who speak English as a second language, or perhaps not at all. And this is the big tent party. We can get ourselves out there, perhaps holding education clinics and reaching out in multiple languages and drawing upon our partners in these organizations in a way that we haven't in the past, to make sure that we don't cede any ground to Republicans. And we know that Republicans are active in these spaces. We cannot take the Democratic coalition for granted. And the Republican strategy in Fairfax County, where they know that they can't win on the merits of their policy positions, is to chip away at our coalition. And we cannot let that happen. This is a full court press, and we all need to be a part of the team that gets this done. So I thank you all for your time. I look forward to meeting many of you. I expect that I will be visiting hopefully every district reorganization meeting next week. I certainly have a plan for how I can do that. And we'll look forward to meeting those of you who I haven't had the privilege so far of meeting. And I will be dropping my email in chat. I would really welcome anybody's questions about my plan for FCDC and how we can all work together to make Fairfax a sapphire blue place to live and serve as members of FCDC. So remember that reorganization meeting is January 9th, 7:30 p.m., Woodson High School, and please vote Aaron Yohai for FCDC chair. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for the kind words, Aaron, and thank you. And next I recognize Nadia Golding.
Hi, folks. I just wanted to, it says unmute to start. Okay. Hi, folks. I just wanted to kind of let you know that tonight is my last meeting as treasurer. By the end of the year, I will have done it for 14 years, and it's time for me to step aside. But that doesn't mean I'm going anywhere. You know, I want to work with Aaron or whoever ends up being the chair, but hopefully Aaron next year. And I'm planning to run with Maggie Godwell for vice chair finance. So I'm going to stay involved in raising money for the committee. I also want to stay involved in helping out with all sorts of back end stuff. So nobody has to fear that I'm going to be gone. Sorry if you wanted me to be. And I just wanted to thank Brian for being a great chair. And I really enjoyed working with him for the last 4 years. And I know that we're going to keep moving forward very well. And the person who is running to succeed me as treasurer is Andrew Scalise, who is my assistant treasurer and absolutely has my complete endorsement for the job. And I think that you will be in good hands financially. So thank you, everybody, for giving me the honor of being your treasurer for so long. Thanks.
I mean, maybe just for congruency, I recognize Maggie.
Sure. Thanks so much, Brian. I was expecting Maria to go next. My name is, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Maggie Godbold, and as Nadia mentioned, she and I are running together as co-vice chairs for finance. That part of the reason is it's a big job. We have a lot to do. We need to raise a lot of money next year. And as some of you know, I do travel a lot. So between the two of us, we should be able to cover the job very well. Nadia, of course, has been doing a lot of work on finance already. My experience is a little different. I started out doing precinct ops. I've been a member of FCDC for at least 12 years now, I think, doing precinct ops. And then I was chair of the Sully district for almost 4 years. And shortly after that, I got recruited to do precinct operations with Maria for Fairfax County. And it's been a real education. But all of that experience brings me to the need now to raise money. The way I see it is the way you raise money and the way you spend money is indicative of your values. And we need to, when we raise money, we need to raise it for the right reasons and spend it for the right reasons and be smart about it. I have a lot of experience budgeting and doing fundraising. What I don't know is a lot of the real details that Nadia and other folks on the finance committee have done. So I'm looking forward to learning it. And I'm certainly not going to be anywhere else. I'll be around to help with precinct operations. I'm not giving up being a precinct captain either. So I do hope to meet some of you at your reorg next week if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'm very much looking forward to serving as your co-finance chair. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Maggie. And next time, recognize Maria Varel.
Do you want to do Andrew next, just for continuity?
No.
I just want to let everybody know I'm going to run again for chair for precinct operations. I think it's the most vital function that we do, and I enjoy working with just the great people from all the districts. So let's put together another awesome committee to get stuff done again. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I recognize Andrew Scalise.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you, Nadia. Obviously, I appreciate the kind words. For those who don't know, I've been assistant treasurer since 2018, I think, and have really learned the ropes, if you will, from Nadia. Learned a lot about campaign finance and compliance. And so I am a CPA. I run the accounting department at Georgetown University. And so I think as serving as a district chair and as precinct ops for my district and in treasury role for FCDC and in for what I like to say is 4% of the state legislature for whom I'm the campaign treasurer. I feel like the best way I can serve the party and serve all of you is as the treasurer of FCDC. So I want to put my skill sets to good use. Like I said, I was district chair of Springfield, so I kind of know some of the nuances that districts go through and how we can kind of work together to make that burden a little bit easier on districts. And also thanks to Nadia's help, I know a good way of I know how to manage the compliance for FCDC and a strong accounting system. So I'm hoping to have support for treasurer and just reiterate to everybody who said thank you to Nadia and to Brian, all the wonderful words in the chat. I identify with those as well. Thank you to everybody who's made my last 7 years in FCDC an amazing time for me. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, I recognize Stephanie Sedgwick.
Yeah, and I just want to say that I'm going to run again for Vice Chair North. I think I bring a lot of institutional knowledge at this point, having worked in finance and precinct ops, having piloted the door hanger program in Dranesville. And it's been my honor to see how well we've done the joint campaign and how much impact we can have moving forward and how we can leverage the fact that we are leaning blue so strongly to help other parts of the state. And I love working with you guys, and the committees are fabulous, and I hope I'll have the honor to serve again. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie. I'm not seeing any other hands raised seeking recognition for office or position. So I will open it up to general announcements at this point, if there are any general announcements. Okay. Not seeing any general announcements either. We can move on to adjournment. There being no further business before this committee, we adjourned. Our next county committee meeting is actually kind of as a new committee, as a reorganized committee, January 9th, 7:30 p.m. at Oakton High School. Check out the Fairfax County Democratic Committee website, fairfaxdems.org or fairfaxdemocrats.org, whichever one you like, for your district committee meeting time and location. Those are all kind of next week. And I hope to see some of you on Sunday at the FCDC holiday party as well. Thanks again, and have a good holiday season. I'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Bye.